Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Construction and Joinery live Q&A today. If you've got any questions at all for our lecturers, please pop them in the Q&A chat and we'll try and answer them all for you this morning. So I'm going to hand you over to the lecturers now, who will just introduce themselves and their course area. And as I said, pop any questions that you've got in the Q&A and we'll answer them as soon as they come in.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name's Lee Wignall. I teach Carpentry and Joinery Level 1 and Level 2 Site Carpentry. Now over to Paul.
Hi, everyone. I'm Paul Toon, and at the moment I'm teaching the Level 1 construction groups.
Yeah. And then we have David Kirkby, who teaches bricklaying, but he's not on the chat. That's about our department at the minute.
That's it.
Thank you. So, since we've not got any questions coming in yet, usually it takes a few minutes, I thought I'd just ask some questions that we get quite frequently from students. So, something we get asked about quite a lot with construction is about like kit and what they need to wear, what they might need to buy before the course. And I was just wondering if you could sort of go through that, like what they would be required to maybe purchase or wear during the course.
Okay, well, they definitely need steel toe cap boots. It's a must when they're in the workshop. Obviously protect from dropping things on their feet, things like that. We also recommend construction trousers. Again, protect your legs a bit more than a pair of jogging bottoms or jeans. Looks a bit smarter as well. And then tape measures, pencils, a pen, and that's about it, isn't it, Paul? Anything else?
Yeah, I think so. So was it really?
Yeah. Yeah, we recommend you buy the latest textbook as well for the relevant course.
Just one.
Yeah.
Sorry, just one thing. So you can either buy the book or you can access the textbooks from the awarding body. And you can download them as an electronic version onto your laptop or your tablet as well. So that's also an option.
Yeah. We've got a message. Do you start at level 1 or can you come in on level 2? Prefer people to start at level 1, to be honest, to gain the basic hand skills. It just sets you up better for the level 2, to be honest, because if you come straight in on a level 2, you know, and you don't know how to use a saw, use a chisel, things like that, you're kind of on a back foot straight away. So better to come in on the level 1, where you learn the basic in carpentry, for instance, learn the basics, how to use the tools, how to use the power tools, and the basic joints that you'll need to use in carpentry and joinery. So yeah, better to come in at level 1.
I think with that question, there's a bit of confusion because some people get level 2 grades in, say, GCSE, and that's fine. Yeah. But don't expect to go straight onto a level 2 course because, as Lee was saying, it's not so much about the academic qualification; it's more about the hand skills that are required to pass the course.
Yeah, there was another question, but it's disappeared.
Oh, don't worry, I can tell you what it is. It's, what are the workshops like? So what facilities do we have?
So we have 3 workshops. One is we may change them before next term, but currently we have a carpentry and joinery workshop that still has the machine shop attached to it. And we have the middle workshop, which is where the bricklaying's being done at the moment. And then we have a 3rd workshop, which is it's the basic construction workshop in one half, and the other half is the site carpentry level 2. Pretty much it at the moment. Anything to add to that, Paul?
No, that's pretty much it. We've also got a bit of an outdoor area for brickwork as well.
Yeah, that's true.
But it depends on the course and the numbers that are attending the courses, depending on the rooms and how we use the rooms, basically, because we've got quite a flexible sort of area.
Yeah. There's a communal area attached to that where you sit and have your breaks and stuff. And in there, there's a little cafeteria. Well, it's like a hatch that you can buy food from, drinks from at break times.
And usually, when we haven't got COVID, we've also got access to lockers for storing boots and stuff. But obviously, this year with COVID, there's more restrictions in place. Same with food and stuff. So there's we're just having to work within the government guidelines at the moment and the college guidance. I've just seen that, if that's okay, we'll just see the next question. So saying here, what kind of job can I get after the course? So basically the ideal is to try and get an apprenticeship and get yourself into employment. So the courses are a stepping stone. So you do a general construction course if you don't really know what you want to do. So you come out of school, you haven't got a clue what you want to do, but you're interested in construction, so it's like a bit of a taster. You can have a go at each one, and from that you can progress on to the joinery courses, both level 1 and 2. Or if you come in and you know that you want to do joinery and that's your interest, then obviously you can go on to the level 1. So the idea is that you progress through the courses, but at any point you can transfer, and the ideal operation is to try and get you into employment and into the workplace. I know with COVID this is quite different at the moment, but there are options and opportunities still available from employers as well. I think that covers that one, hopefully. Unless you've got anything more, Lee?
No, not really. It said about accommodation available. Do you know more about that side of things, Paul? I'm not sure about that.
We do have accommodation, but not for construction courses, because the construction courses are not a live-in course, basically. So most of the courses are 2 to 3 days a week, so most people live locally to come into college. Accommodation is available for some courses, but it's mainly for apprenticeships and for sort of higher courses where they come from around the country. So if somebody was coming in from, say, Cornwall or up north or somewhere like that, rather than travelling in, they'd be staying and coming in on block release as well. I think that covers that one. Okay.
Lovely. Yeah, I will just say I do think this year our accommodation is a little bit more open. So if you were looking at a course at BMC and you thought the distance might be a bit far, I'll pop our accommodation link in the chat anyway, so you can have a little look at what we've got on site. It is sort of a first come first served basis. So if you are interested in that, definitely get in touch with our accommodation team as soon as possible. I will also pop a link in the chat to our transport information as well. So a lot of our students do come to us from all across the county and surrounding counties, and our transport is a way that we facilitate that. So definitely have a look at that as well. We haven't got any more questions at the moment.
No.
I thought I'll give another frequently asked question that we get quite a lot. So often we'll get asked by parents specifically about entry requirements for courses, of what GCSE students need to have, and any experience they can get beforehand that would be useful. So could you talk a little bit about that?
There is no entry requirement for the courses. It obviously, if you haven't got a grade, I can't remember what the grade is. If you haven't got a certain grade, then you will obviously have to do maths and English while on the course to try and upskill you.
Four and above on the new scale.
Right, 4 and above, yeah. Okay.
So
what I'll do is I'll pop the link to the courses in the chat so you can have a look at all the individual entry requirements.
Yeah, the aim really is to get as good grades as possible from your schooling and come in with the required GCSE requirements, because if not, you will still be going into GCSE classes or functional skills classes and work on these and attain these grades. So that is one thing. Don't just think that you leave school and that's the end of education. So hopefully if you pass the courses, you won't have to attend the classes, but if not, you'll have to attend functional skills or GCSE classes to attain level 4 in both maths and English.
So that's that. Anything else? No.
Yeah, we've had another question. So, is the course suitable for mature students or just school leavers?
It is open to mature students. The only thing you'll find there is to do with the funding. So obviously, if you're a younger student, then it's free education. Whereas if you're a more mature student, depending on your circumstances, you may have to pay for the course, but you'd need to talk to the finance department to check that out. It depends. It's on a person by person basis, really, depending on your personal circumstances and your age.
A mature student's classed as 19 plus, isn't it?
Yes,
right?
it is. Yeah.
So anyone over 19 plus.
So if you're over 19 plus before the start date that you start the course, then you'll be charged the full amount or the relevant amount if you're on job seekers or if you're on benefits or so on. But you'd need to refer that in on the application form, and then they will give you more information on that.
Yeah, lovely. I've popped our course inquiries email address into the chat as well. So if you're interested and you're a mature student and you want to learn more about fees and funding, you can email our course inquiries team and they'll pass it on to the relevant team and they'll be able to help you with that. So I thought maybe we could talk about like the sort of different modules and the different areas that you cover within the courses. So sort of for both construction and joinery, sort of what you you cover.
Do you want to go firstly or me?
Yeah, can do. So obviously, as I said at the start, I teach the level 1 carpentry and joinery along with Paul at the moment. Paul also does some sessions of that. And on that course, you will learn, as I said earlier, how to use the basic hand tools, how to use the power tools, as well as a range of different basic carpentry and joinery joints. So which are the basis really for everything that you do going forward. From the level 1 course, you're supposed to pick a route to go down. So you do the basic course and then you choose a route. So you could go into shop fitting, bench joinery, site carpentry. But unfortunately at the moment we're only running site carpentry level 2 after the level 1, although we may be reintroducing bench joinery level 2, but I can't promise that will be on for next year. So that's pretty much the level 1. The level 2 is the main thing really, where you'll start learning how to fit doors, how to do skirting, how to put roofs on. What else is involved? How to do floorboarding, how to fit kitchens, various things like that. So yeah, over to you, Paul, on your construction.
Okay, so same as Lee really. A general construction course is a bit of an introduction to the construction industry. So for people that don't really know which trade they want to go into or want to have a go and try stuff, we run different elements. So of course we've got joinery, we've also got brickwork, we've got plumbing, some painting, decorating, and a little bit of basic electrics of what we're going to be running at the moment. And basically it's an introduction. So again, it's about working on hand skills, using the different tools for whichever trade you're going to work in. There's also elements of health and safety and principles of building, so how houses are built and how all this work that you're going to do relates. This also relates to these courses as well. With the construction course, the exams are sort of practical exams. So you've got basic joints, for example, in the joinery, basic brickwork things, and then they've got set questions from the awarding bodies. And then again with Lee's courses, he'll have the same, he'll have assessments, and he also has online exams as well for some of the elements. But it's generally a general introduction to get you interested or find out what you would like to progress to, and then you can progress to those courses in the future. Hopefully that covers that.
Yep.
Just saw one, I think, popped up. Questions about apprenticeships. Sorry.
Yeah, so someone's asked, do we do apprenticeships?
Yeah, we do as a group. So now that we've merged with Stevenson College, the apprenticeships are actually run from the Stevenson campus at Colville on the construction side. So you can make inquiries into the college and they'll be forwarded to the relevant people at Colville and they'll be able to contact you for taking up for apprentices. But I think at the moment they're running brickwork and site joinery. I think also there's plumbing and electrical apprenticeships as well at Stevenson, as far as I know.
Well, again, like everything, it is subject to change. We may start doing them by next year, next academic year. That's what we were told, weren't we, Paul?
Yeah.
But they may be brought back to Brooksby, some of them. So it's not a definite no at the moment.
Lovely, thank you. I've popped the link to all our apprenticeship information for the open day in the chat as well. So if anyone's interested, they can have a look at that. There's a few different videos on there. And then there's also an email address there if you are interested. Our apprenticeship team are taking inquiries, and if you inquire with them, they'll get in touch later in the year because I think they're hoping to do some sort of on-site events for prospective apprentices who want to learn more as well. So definitely email them if you're interested in apprenticeships. So again, we haven't had any more questions at the moment. So maybe we could talk a little bit about sort of what the site's like, what the Brooksby campus is like, and why it's such a good place to study, and different facilities we've got there. So different catering facilities and stuff like that, and what the students tend to do while they're not in lessons.
Yeah, sure. The Brooksby campus is quite a large open campus. It used to be an agricultural college, and unlike other colleges where everything is in one building, things quite spread out on the campus. So we've got sort of, I suppose, three distinct parts. We've got the main old hall, which has got the teaching blocks and a library in it, student services. There's also Villiers, which is a food court, which is open for the students. There's also an area called the stable bar, which usually when we haven't got COVID is again like a breakout area for the students to chill out with pool tables and stuff. But obviously this year there's restrictions on that. So a lot of the functional skills exams, also the library is there as well for research for the students if they're doing independent study. And then you move down through the campus and past the lake, and then there's a sports hall. We've got 3G pitch, we've got Tigers and football teams that operate. We've then got the main area where construction is, which is the Grafton building. There is also another building called the Jutland building and the greenhouses that have got horticulture there. And within our area, as Lee said, we've got our own sort of breakout area where students can sit and relax. We've also got the surgery. And then as you go through the campus further, where we don't go so far, but at the top end of the campus is equine and small animal care area as well at the far end of the campus. So it's quite a long campus. It sort of runs from just past the Rearsby bypass all the way to Hobie basically, and on the other side of the road as well for the agricultural courses. Is there anything I've missed there? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. So we've had a question come through. How is the course assessed? Is it just practical, or do you do coursework and exams and stuff as well?
Okay.
Sorry, Paul, you go if you want.
It's a mixture really. On the general construction course, I would say it's 80% practical, 20% theory. It's more practically based. Whereas with Lee's courses, I would say it's probably more of a 50-50 split. Would you say, Lee?
I'd say so, yeah. It's more 50-50. There's quite a lot of theory work to go along with the practical. A lot of stuff that you need to know, and for that obviously you'll complete workbooks, activity sheets, and there'll be for every unit that we do there's an end exam as well, 20 question exam that you have to pass. So yeah, there is quite a bit of coursework on the carpentry and joinery or bricklaying level 1 and 2. Which we also run, which just that Dave's not here to
We forgot
to talk about that. Yeah.
I mean, both of the courses are assessed the same, aren't they? It's practical end tests that you need to meet certain standards on both time and the standard of the workmanship, and then also there's a mixture of either online tests set by the awarding body or tests that are taken within the college environment. And all these components need to be completed. So for each course there'll be a set amount of different individual units. So as Lee mentioned earlier, he'd got power tools, basic joints. So for each one of those there'll be a different practical and theory test, and you have to complete all of these to get the qualification at the end of the year, basically.
Yeah. Do we get to go on site, on trips and site visits? Well, it's a tough one at the moment. Traditionally, yes, we would go on trips, but with the current situation with COVID, I'd say not. But obviously, it's dependent on that changing. What sort of trips did we do, Paul? You know more about that than me.
Yeah, I mean, usually we have like trade show trips, so anything relating to your course. So we'd probably go every 2 years. The joinery students would go to like something like Woodmex, or we go to the construction show. Also, we used to get jobs coming in, so we'd do jobs for charities or other people for sort of engagement with the students and extra activity. We've worked with the ECB doing stuff on cricket grounds. We've also worked at Home Pierpont Hall on a heritage job with English Heritage, where we were involved with a local heritage conservation and a lottery funding grant. So there's lots of different things that we usually do, but obviously with COVID at the moment, we're a bit limited on that, with the restrictions obviously in place. But hopefully if that eases, then there will be trips in the future, yes. What we got here? I think that's about it.
How many days per week are you at college? It's 3 days a week, but it depends what course you're on as to what days you'll be required to come in. Currently, the level 1 course, carpentry and joinery, is Monday to Wednesday. The level 2 is Wednesday to Friday, and Paul's course is split over 2 because he has 2 groups, don't you, Paul? So one group does well. It's a bit strange to split, isn't it? But it's essentially 3 days a week that you'll be expected to attend. But that's not necessarily full days either, depending on English and maths and things like that.
Yeah, so obviously you've got, within those 3 days, you'll have practical lessons, theory lessons, also obviously English and maths. Obviously, if you're exempt from English and maths, you'll be doing independent study, which will be workbooks or work that's related to your course as well. And this is also sort of runs through with COVID as well. So if we get locked down at the moment, obviously, we would revert to independent study. So we've got an online system called Moodle on the college, and we also operate through Teams as well to deliver classes and coursework to try hopefully get you through your qualification, even if we have restrictions in place.
Yeah.
Lovely, thank you. I know that some people have asked sort of what we're doing in class at the moment to sort of cope with all the COVID-19 restrictions. Could you talk through sort of what we've got in place in the workshops?
Yeah, sure. All the communal areas and corridors, students should all be wearing face masks at all times. The new health and safety guidance that has come out at the end of this week is also now requiring students to wear face masks in theory sessions when you're sat in the classroom. Obviously with the practical it's a little bit more difficult because the tutor's not necessarily stood at the front of the class, so we're trying to get students to wear face masks as well, and tutors are also wearing face coverings. And also we've sort of got cleaning protocols in for all the tools and equipment, so at the end of the session there's cleaning tools and equipment. And also we're trying to enforce or recommend hand washing more regular. We've also had hand sanitizers fitted throughout the building and wash points, and also one-way systems are in place in some of the buildings as well. I think that's about everything I can think of.
Yeah, things like if you're in the workshop, we're trying to separate the entrances, so you'll be expected to come through the door. Basically, the way the workshops are set up, there's a roller shutter in front of each workshop, except for one. But the idea is you queue up outside the roller shutter for the relevant workshop, and then you can come straight into the workshop as opposed to having to keep going up and down the corridors and mixing. So trying to keep the groups separated as they enter the buildings and exit the buildings.
There's also
I think that's all we've got time for today. We don't have any more questions coming through.
Yep.
So I think we'll just wrap it up there, I guess, unless you've got anything else that you'd like to add or say to any prospective students.
No.
I'll put the application link in the chat. So if you are interested, we are taking applications for our full-time courses for next September. So do make that application online. And if you have any specific questions about how to apply or about the courses, do get in touch with us by email as well. So I'll pop our email address in there. We've got some advisors on that email this morning who will be answering your questions.
Okay, right. Thanks everybody.
Thanks for joining.
everybody.
All right, thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.